Hi, Joe Cerrone. Welcome to CAD 230, Introduction to Solidworks, and our weekly Zoom meeting. Midterm exam. The midterm exam is available for students to take. The midterm exam starts today and is due at 11:30 p.m. next week, Monday, April 5th. Students will need to use the HonorLock service. HonorLock is a online proctoring service. If you go to the website right here, you can take a look at how that works, and you can schedule a demo, and you can purchase their service from them. I myself don't take it, so I think you just go to this for students, and then you can begin a live chat session. They're extremely helpful. I had them go through and check to make sure that the exam works. And I'm sure they'll be able to support you with that. Back to our main page. And so they will charge you. They will ask you for the, it's like $7 or $8 for one exam, and then $11 for unlimited. You'll need a webcam and a photo ID. So essentially what they ask you to do is take your computer and pan it around the room and hold up an identification to the webcam so they can verify it's you. The midterm exam part 1 is right here. You can link to it. And so if you click on it, it should go right into the HonorLock portal and then start the exam. When I see these things, they look a little bit different. And so when I go to these HonorLock settings, I can take a look and see that the exam is enabled. And so here it is, 2021 Module 7 multiple choice exam. And so I go through and I set it up, and then I can check the results for that. And it's just like taking the exam on D2L. You'll still have all the multiple choice questions and things like that, just like you see right here. It is recommended that you take the practice exam before you do the regular exam, but I don't know how much longer the practice exam. I think the practice exam stops, but I'll extend it for one more day for anybody who wants to take it, since you have a week for it. All right, back to the main splash page. So you'll need to take this link here with HonorLock. The second part, you can use HonorLock or not. It's the actual exam part. And the way that it looks is very similar to the practice exam. You're to model each of the parts. The origin is important to the extent of the questions that it asks. When we're calculating out the mass, the origin doesn't come into play. The mass is going to be determined by the material. So you need to be able to specify the material as nylon, this one's 610. And then they set these up with this A, B, and C areas so that the instructors can change the math, change the problem. So you could have, you know, one group of students have A being 100, another group being B, and change those variables. But for our case, we just leave them as they are. A is 110, B is going to be 60, and that's in millimeters, and C is going to be 50. And so they do tell you that the measurement units, and that's kind of oftentimes the big mistake people will make, is they'll use the wrong units. The second question here shows you how to build these other parts here. Again, you know, if there is no origin, then you don't have to worry about it. But again, the material is plain carbon steel. I did create these parts. And so if I go and I look at them, let's see where it is. Let's see here. It's not cooperating today. So let's see here. Well, I'm having a little trouble finding that one, so I'll have to come back to that one. Let me get back to where I was before. But essentially, let's see, that's because I'm in the midterm. Let me go into the practice one. So the practice midterm looks like these parts right here. And so if we want to look at the practice midterm, we go to the content section. Here's the practice midterm. I can download it. Open the file. And so these are the different components for it. And then if we take a look at the material will be 2014 alloy. And they do give you the solutions right here in this practice exam, so you can see if you correctly calculate this out. When they ask you for the center of mass, these are the values that are going to be related to the origin. So if we come back to this part, and of course I can't quite get it because I have too many files open. Let's get rid of some of these. Well, so resuming, the material needs to be set for brass and the units need to be in millimeters. So as we take a look at this part right here, and I finally found the other one too. I see what happened. It just has open sketch. But what you want to do is you want to go to the material spec here and right click, and you can say edit material. And so you'll choose the material. Sometimes you have to hunt around for them, like within copper alloys, to find this. And then we apply that and we can close that. And then we can look at that mass calculation by going to the evaluate tab, mass properties. And the mass for this is going to be 1101.118. And then if I come back here and I look at the exercise, I can see that that part, and they show you how to draw it, is 1105. And sometimes there is a little bit off, within just, very small amount. And that's acceptable by Solidworks as well. I'm not exactly sure where some of that comes off, but most of the time they're within 5 or 10 millimeters as far as that goes. And then we can take a look at some of these other values for some of these other parts. So for this part here, it's made out of a 6061 alloy, which would be an aluminum alloy. And then if we switch over to it right here, we can check it. And so here's my 6061 alloy. And then if I go to the mass properties and check that, it's going to be a 302.40. And it's glitching on me. And this has happened. I'm not sure why this happens every once in a while, but unfortunately, my computer is glitching because I should be able to get my evaluation of that part and hit my mass properties. So yes, would be nice. Everything else seems to work on it though. Continuing. So we want to calculate out the mass properties on these different parts, and just one of those days where my computer seems to want to glitch. I could probably shut it down and restart it, but while I'm doing a recording, I don't think that would be the best. This part's made out of nylon. And so if we take a look at that, and that's probably the one that I can't find. Here, this one here. And this one's made out of a 2014 alloy. Let's see if my mass properties will work here. Yeah, and so my mass is 1.64 pounds. And then if I switch back over to my materials here, I can take a look at it. And that answer is usually in here. And apparently that one's not one of those days. All right. But essentially it's pretty straightforward. You go through, you model the parts, you assign the material, and then you calculate it with mass properties. If you do have any questions, be happy to answer them for you. But I think it's just a little glitchy as far as my computer goes with being able to find some of those things. I don't think they'll really keep you from taking the midterm exam. So that's the midterm hands-on component, and then, or the practice midterm hands-on component. And then the practice component for that would be under quizzes and exams. And so the midterm practice exam is here under midterm practice exam, practice test midterm. And so you can enable that and you can go through and take that exam. I can see I've got some people who have taken it already, and I just go through and I can grade that. And so if I go and I take a look at it and I grade it, those of you who took the exam should have gotten feedback for those problems. And when we look at it, hopefully Greg won't mind if I show his. It'll basically go through and auto grade it. There are a couple of questions that are fill in the blank, and those will not be scored until the instructor myself goes through and evaluates it. So I have to read a couple of them for you for that. And there are these 3-point multiple choice or answers for it. But with that said, it's one of those days where I just can't seem to find the exact question I'm looking for out of 100 of them. But as you can see, the questions are taken from the book questions from the end of the chapters. And you can also practice on the practice exam before you take the regular exam. All right. With that, I'll leave the midterm practice exam open for one more day for anybody who wants to practice with that. And then for the midterm exam itself, you'll click on this link and take that with HonorLock. And then you'll click on this. You don't necessarily have to use HonorLock. You can use HonorLock. It's a 3-hour time limit, but you can do this on your own as well. And then you'll open up the midterm exam. Make sure you put your name on it and then fill in the answers for the mass properties. Save your files, turn them into the Dropbox assignments folder for module 7, midterm exam. You can drop them right here, and they're due April 5th, 11:30 p.m. All right, so that's our review of the assignments in the midterm. I will stop the recording and open things up for questions.